Ah, and we are live. Hello and welcome to round 17 for the Russian Grand Prix. It is of course F1 on a Tuesday. And after the action of Monday, if we might get a dry race, hopefully we'll have some more good action. But I am joined with my co-commentator T-Hawk, who's returning to the commentary box. How are you doing, T-Hawk?
Guten Abend. I'm doing quite well.
Good to hear. And me and T-Hawk will be taking you along, hopefully, some action, and hopefully good action, and not too many crashes. We do have a new driver of Robin Greves as a reserve, who's obviously filling in, as we do not have too many drivers here today, but luckily we do have a couple F2 reserves and reserves who are appearing. So,
Let's see.
as things stand...
Scar's asking what car you should be in.
I think it's any, that is fine at the moment. But let me see, let's see who we're waiting on. I think there's probably a couple guys. Petterville might be joining, but yeah, Petterville hasn't joined, but we are waiting. Well, Brandt isn't racing today, if anyone's wondering. Arno in a Williams isn't racing. Oh, Stephen's not able to commentate, and Rocco can't race either. So that's why Macho's filled in. So, I think Pettervold and Tyne might not be able to race today, which would be bad for Ferrari's hopes at the constructors. So, I think we should be able to get underway, shouldn't we? Yeah. So I think all the drivers can ready up, and we'll go along with 16 drivers. Actually, I should probably limit the drivers in the session. So give me a sec, just so we don't have anyone joining. Oh wait, we have a new guy. Who's this? Petterville. Oh no, that's me. Oh, silly me. It is maximum players 18 because of... should be 18. 18's fine because it's me and you. So yeah, we're ready to go now. So all the drivers I think can ready up if they feel like it, and hopefully we shouldn't have anyone hopping in.
Alright then. Ready up, gentlemen.
Oh, Rocco's online, but I don't think he can race. But
I think he said so.
yeah, he said no. But
yeah.
As we're underway. Yeah, so I think we're ready to get underway then. 16 drivers. In terms of the championship, obviously Jensen wrapped up in Singapore, so he can, I guess, do a lot of the first challenge, but I think he is not going to take his foot off the gas. And the man who would have been a championship contender if it was going into Russia would, I think it would be Petterville, who's not here. And the battle for P2 is actually now been blown wide open because Tyne, Petterville, and Rocco, who are all in the fight for P2 in a Drivers' Championship, are not here. So that would mean Messina in P4 in the Drivers' Championship and Denzo in P6 might move up a couple of positions as we have a dry qualifying session.
Oh, you can already see what I'm still loading in. But yeah, as I said, a very good chance for Messina today to make up a lot of points. Jensen, of course, as we know, is he already the champion?
Yes.
Yeah, he is already the champion, of course, yeah.
So Jensen, I guess, will be hoping to add to his record of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poles. So Jensen already got quite a few poles and wins under his belt, but I guess he'll be trying to impress us all and try and go for some records to to add on top of that, as I think there's a Haas, possibly in or someone.
Yeah, I think that's one of the Haas. It must be Macho then.
Yeah. Yeah, Macho, obviously, I think it was P5 in the end in F2, so he'll be wanting to, I guess, improve on that. It's a little bit of a weakened F1 grid, so the likes of Zero might be able to get a podium, maybe Macho, as I don't think he's got a podium in F1 yet as a reserve, but we could possibly be seeing some unusual points finishes as well.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, it was P3 actually, that's my bad, but Macho, I think in Singapore, had some bad luck and dropped down, I think it was to the lower points finishes, but he's shown promising pace and he'll be the first one to set a lap.
The conditions are cloudy but dry. Race also seems to be dry, given that we have some guys out on the medium. So.
Yeah. As Macho just coming through the very technical third sector. I think it'll be interesting if we see any drivers going on the mediums, because obviously that would indicate a dry race, which I think would be preferred, given a wet race is usually slightly boring, but I'm not really sure. I think F2 was fairly action-packed, but Macho just starting his lap in the Haas, going through the easy flat-out turn 1, picking up DRS, reaching a top speed of around 208 miles per hour. Just braking just before the 100-meter board, picking up the curb as he gets a little bit unsettled. Macho, the Dutchman, coming through the long left-hander, not sticking too tight to the curb, not wanting to pick up an invalidation. Runs a bit wide through turn 4, and now his sector split is a 33.0, so probably a little bit slower than he would have liked. A couple of mistakes, but now this middle sector is very easy with the 90-degree corners to pick up an invalidation, but Macho negotiates them very well. Into the second left-hander 90-degree corner, Macho just pushing the limits slightly. Goes a little bit wide, but picked up good traction to improve his lap. And now coming into the second sector split, he has done a 104.2. So looking good for Macho here. I think we'll be seeing times around 1:29.5 possibly, as he runs very wide through the very unsettled left-hander of turn 15. But now coming into the last two corners, just wanted to keep it clean and then flat out on traction to the line, and it's a 30.5. I think a very similar time he did in F2 actually as this banker, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, he did miss quite a few apexes in the second sector and the tricky chicane in the third sector.
Denzo
8 down on the mediums, so
that's a bit
does seem to be a dry race.
Yeah, which is probably something we would like, as Robin Graber's the debutant for this race. Looks to be pushing the limits in the racing point alongside his fellow countryman Hennep. As Scar goes an impressive P2, which is taken by Bullboy, but now Robin Grevers just goes behind by 2 thousandths. So if it stays like that, I think Robin Grevers might be kicking himself, as Davidson validated. Pelly's coming to finish his lap, even though with a full battery. I think he's set a banker, quite a fast banker, but now he's pushing a full lap. See what the fellow Haasman can do for the American outfit, as he's managed to not pick up an invalidation, which is very easy to do at Russia, as I think someone slowed down or spun, is that?
I think that's one of the McLarens just slowing down. I think both McLarens actually on slow laps now. They were probably invalidated. Jensen also on slow lap, so I don't know if he had a mistake or something like that.
Pelly marginally improving by 300ths. Coming through the second sector, starting to put the foot to the gas. I think he might have invalidated around this point in his lap. But I think Jack Stegel there on the mediums as well. 1.4 seconds off there for Jack. So So I think if he put on a pair of softs, he'd be looking at P2. So that's looking quite impressive for him. Same as Zero, but I think Zero can definitely go faster. As Pelly has backed off again, despite being 1.4 seconds up on his time. And I'm not I think he's run out of fuel, that's why.
At least invalidated as well.
As David's pushing, but then invalidates with low ERS mode.
I think he had let his teammate through, Amanda currently on a quick lap.
Yeah, so having got the fastest lap times here, Bullboy might be maybe starting to think, especially now it's been 7 minutes almost since the session started. Maybe Bullboy might get a good qualifying position, maybe his best ever of the season, if everyone keeps on invalidating. But Edzak as well, he's another on the lap, he's, yeah, backed off as well. Head at Plant J after his debut in Singapore after retiring around mid-race in a Red Bull as he validates on his out lap. I think he's going to be wanting to maybe get some points finished. I think he said on Discord that he had a pad issue, so that might be hindering him. As Macho completely missed that, does a 30.0, which is slightly slower than what he did in F2, if I'm mistaken. As Amendigo is very close. So, can you remember what he did in F2?
I think in F2 he also did a 30 deaths, so it's around the same pace, I'd say. Probably suggesting that yesterday in F2 he did actually have a dry setup.
Yeah, I think I can't tell if Max is pushing here. Yeah, he's down on his time, so a little bit, I guess, empty on the track. Because I think Jensen, obviously the title, I mean the championship now winner, obviously in his first debut, first championship ever, will be starting a lap in around a minute. As I think, Hennet Planche, okay, he started a lap, so see what the racing point can do. From 15th, he'll be wanting, I'm sure, to get into the top 5. As some good F2 performances at the moment, like Scar in P5, that's quite solid. Only a 10th as well, separating P3 to P5, and even you could even say 3/10 from P3 to P7. So a quite closely spaced field, isn't it?
Mm. Oh, and Henny just invalidated there, coming out of the medium speed left-hander. Easy to run right there. Let's see anybody else on the lap.
I don't think so.
Jensen is about to start his lap on the mediums.
So Jensen on a medium, see what he can do. I definitely think on a soft he's capable of doing a 29, but we're going to have to see what he can do on a pair of mediums. He'll be wanting to get ahead of Denzo, that's for sure. Probably Denzo has been one of the best and most impressive in quali this season. He's picked up, if I have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 poles, the same number as Jensen. So, well, actually Jensen's only got 5 poles, so Denzo generally has performed better than Jensen in qualifying, as Jensen sets a little bit maybe of a weak first sector.
Yeah, they had a big start coming out of turn 5 for right-hander after the long left.
God, that's wide, as there's a Red Bull behind who's gone.
I think he's struggling on those mediums.
Yeah, Jensen might have to go on another run, but he keeps on pushing, so he clearly thinks he's a good enough time to keep on going. As he comes around, it's a 4.3, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Macho made it a 30.5, did a 104.2, as he gets a big snap of oversteer there.
He's really pushing it.
Ooh, as he's drifting almost, so he's really... I don't think maybe the setup's working for him, because he's having a very scruffy lap here, Jensen. But
I think he's just exceeding what the tyres can do for him.
Well, he's 1 minute of Macho's time, as I just see Scar must have improved by half a second, as Mazzina sets pole, and that's more of a respectable time. In a Mercedes, a 1:29.7 breaks the 1 minute 30 barrier, and all of a
Denso in
sudden it looks a
Q4
bit
now.
more competitive. And Denso increases the pace, so starting to get faster times as Bullboy from P2 all of a sudden has dropped down to P8.
Henny on P4 now, good lap from him.
Oh, Hennep, that's a really strong lap. If he can get the strategy right, which I don't think was one of his stronger points in Singapore, he might be up there, as Hennep hopefully isn't coming too many corners. As
Stagger just made a mistake out of the chicane. He was up by a 10th on Macho. That
tell you
probably
who
cost
is
him now.
I tell you who is up by a 10th is Robin Grevers as well, coming into the second sector. So see what he can do. Isn't that 6th for Jack as an improvement?
Yeah, it was an improvement, but still he lost a lot of time coming out of that chicane.
Yeah, Jack in the AlphaTauri now after being in a Red Bull and then losing his seat and then now returning back to F1. So nice to see him back as well in an AlphaTauri. Might be slightly weird, but Robin Grevers, I think he was up by a 10th, so he's going to have to make a significant improvement to maybe break into the top 5. And he only improves by half a 10th, and I'm not sure. I think he's just pipped Bullboy there slightly. As Jacko somehow, not sure what happened there. I think he spun and he reset to track. So yeah, I can't tell really what happened there completely. As Pelly's invalidated, so there's been a lot of invalidations at the moment. The only one to not set a lap time has been Edzak, who's in last at the moment in the Williams. So he'll want to not get the wooden spoon in quali and maybe get up towards the likes of Scar. As Edzak just comes around the long left-hander of turn 3, which asks a lot of the rear right tyres and the right front tyre. As Edzak does a 32.8, so breaks through the 33s. As Macho responds with a very strong time with a 29.7. Macho all of a sudden starting to flex his muscles. He might be onto an F1 win if he can hopefully get some good luck, and the others around him might capitulate. But Edzak, another fellow countryman from the Netherlands, is also going on a lap, and he does a 4-1, so he's looking around a 1 minute 5-4 if he can keep it well planted to the ground, the car, and not do any silly drifts. As I hear a crunching sound, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was Amanda just ahead of him. He was up by almost 2 tenths, but then went right out of the chicane. Caution for him.
But Edzak is going to finish this lap. I think it's going to be valid, and it's a 3.5, so it's the same as Macho's banker, and it's a very respectable P7 out of the likes of Stegel and Scar and even Jensen. So Jensen might want to box for the softs here and maybe break into the top 2. So what do you think you'd do if you were Jensen, T-Hawk?
I don't know, I've won the championship at this point if I'm Jensen, so I might as well just do a last to first challenge. I don't know, I think just for the purpose of entertainment he should definitely go for the softs to be higher up, because I think he can be up there with Messina and Macho.
Yeah. I think if he did put on a pair of softs, he would be looking at the front row. And as we know in Russia, you don't actually necessarily need to be on the front row. If anything, it can be a weakness, as Bottas said previously. The second row with a nice slipstream can be the perfect recipe for the leader down into turn 1. As the Finnish driver, at more or less the closest he can get to a home Grand Prix, is going to be pushing on one of his final runs, if not his final run. Half tenth down on Macho. He's going to have to pull out a real rabbit out of the hat here for a man who doesn't do too much practice for FRL, but always enough to be consistently around the podium spots and sometimes a cheeky win. As he's over half tenth up now, so Mazine is looking at provisional pole. So if he can keep the lap together, the Mercedes man, it's going to be a good result for Mazina.
A little bit wiggly on the exit there for the left-hander, taking a lot of curb.
How's he
Somehow
get
keeps
that
it
valid?
valid. I don't know. But he
Yeah.
really crashed into the wall there. He's still going for it though, so
He must be
he's still up.
somewhat up on his time. I imagine it'll be a 10th down, I'm gonna guess, as it is a 10th down. So he's gonna have to make up 1.5 tenths as he runs a little bit deep. But I'm not sure that might be the preferable line as he gets a massive wiggle. Not enough time to pit either for Mazzina, and he's got low fuel. He's going to have to absolutely send it in these last two corners. And he's hit an invalidation. Oh!
Oh! Right. But he did send it.
He did somewhat send it, and he's definitely not happy with that time. I can't tell. I think it was Zero's behind him, but he has pitted. Zero retires as well, and that's a really weak performance from Zero in P15. But his teammate, P10 Jensen, I think he's going to have to be looking at pole here on the softs. So he will have to send it quite a bit. And really hope not for an invalidation, because if he does get an invalidation, it will be like Hamilton and Monaco. He's going to have to carve his way through the field here. So, but as we know with Hamilton and Monaco, he did not do it. So,
but that was Monaco. This right here is Russia, the lane opposite of Monaco.
Already up by 2 tenths at the moment, and the first sector there's not too many corners. There's enough corners to make up time. I think this middle sector you can maybe make up another 3 tenths for the likes of Jensen. So getting fairly close to the lines here, Jensen. I think he will know how fast his lap is and if he will need to put his foot down on the gas a little bit further. But I think even if he gets P3 here, this is going to look good. And it's a 1-3-4, which I think is really competitive.
Pretty sure it's purple in the second sector.
As Jensen doesn't get a wiggle at all, and through the left-hander, has he? Yeah, not a single ounce of oversteer. So Jensen, he's really pushing into the last 2 corners. What can Jensen do? Is it going to be his 6th pole of the season? Into the last corner. Jensen going to pick up the traction, and it's pole by 3 tenths. A 29.3. Jensen blitzes to pole. But does Macho have any response? He's up by 9 thousandths and he gets a massive wiggle coming into the second DRS straight. See what Macho can do, the Haasman. He's currently in P2, the F2 reserve, and he's 10th up as well. He's going to have to pull out a last sector of the gods here if he does want to be in a fight for pole. But at the moment, he's improving, but it's not enough to get pole. See what Macho can do. Oh, as he gets another wiggle, you can tell he's completely pushing the limits here. Maybe too much. But Macho coming through the last corner. Is this going to be his first ever pole in F1? No, it isn't. And he fails the target. Amenda up by 2 tenths as well. See if he can maybe get P3 off Mazzina. As there's also another McLaren pushing behind. So the McLarens here, they could be on for a strong finishing quali. Amanda already running out of ERS. As he's coming up to the line, and it's an improvement, but not by enough as David. I'm not sure whether that was an improvement. But Denso gets pole on the softs. What a lap time from Denso. And this is why Denso is definitely the qualifying masterclass of the season. He's done it many times in the likes of Baku. And right at the end, Denso delivers. Brilliant pole by the Chilean. And Jensen must be underwhelmed, probably. Or a little bit, I don't know.
Oh,
solemn.
Look who's in P3.
Pelly! God, we've missed out a lot of people here. Pelly, P3, I think he did get P2 in Hungary, just behind Jensen. So that's a very strong qualifying performance from him. A 29.5 for Pelly. Pelly is really got a lot faster since his old days in F2. Very good to see Pelly up there. All Pelly needs to do now is put it in the keep it away from the barriers in a race. Because if anyone knows Pelly, I mean, I will say a couple stats about him, which he's probably not proud of. He's scored 3 points this season, and for a man that quick, it might be slightly surprising. And actually, we should probably do the. Do you want to do quickly the drivers, the top 16 drivers?
Denso out of Jensen, 3 turns, quite a big gap. Pelly in P3, absolutely stunning performance. Out of Macho, Messina P5, bit embarrassing. Amanda, Hennep, David, Sky, and Sax for the top 10, followed by Robin, Jack Stagger, Jacko, Boy, JB, and Zabo, all the way down in P16.
Yeah, but I was just going to say there, Pelly only scored 3 points this season, and he's got many, many, many DNFs here. Just generally through the season. So he's really, really going to want to just keep a nice clean race for himself and that Haas. And who knows, Haas, who are looking really low in terms of the Constructors' Championship, might pull their way out from, I think it's, I'll have a check here, I believe it's, where is it? They're second to last to Williams, who have 40 points, and they're in ninth with 65 points. They might even be able to catch AlphaTauri up if they have a really good points haul here. But Pelly has got many DNFs, as I think it's been. Let me see. He's DNF'd once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times in 16 races. So it's not a brilliant record, but if Pelly can get to the flag and keep it clean and keep the pace up, there's every chance of a podium for Pelly.
Yeah, and remember, he is technically in the best starting position with the slipstream leading down to turn 1. So is Match.
Yeah.
Second row, really in a good position here. That being said, if Denso and Jensen make themselves as wide as possible, then might as well just block off both cars behind them.
Zero has really... I think if there's any track you do not want to be last in, especially with strategy, it is Russia.
Monaco.
Because, I mean, in terms of strategy, I'd say it's Russia, because with such low degradation, he cannot pick the hards, maybe like if it was the likes of USA or Mexico we're coming to in 2 rounds and 3 rounds. Because such low degradation, it's an easy soft medium or medium soft, so I think Zero will be looking to be the top medium runner, hope for a safety car, and then who knows, he might even somehow pull out a very nice podium, which he's only got one of this season, believe it or not.
Yeah, of course. Pretty unfortunate for him. I don't know. I think that one podium that he did get was also due to penalties, so he still wants to finish on the podium on track and actually keep it.
Yeah.
It will be difficult for him today, though. That being said, predictions.
Predictions. I forgot to do my quality drive for the day as well, which I always do. I think I would have given it to Pelly, probably.
Yeah, same.
Or if you give it to Pelly, I think I'll go for Hennep with a strong P7. Hopefully he doesn't do what he did in Singapore and started to drop down the field, but he's made a good start by not hitting anyone in quali. I hope I don't jinx it as he gets close to Amanda. But there you go into AI mode.
Where's predictions?
Okay, sorry. I will go for a very serious one of Denso for the win, Jensen P2 and Messina in P3. I think it could be a very boring race in Russia, which is similar to real life. And what do you think you'll be going for, Mr. T-Hawk?
I'm gonna go for Zabo P1.
Oh.
Denso P2 and Pelly P3.
Yeah, it's been 591 days or so since Zero has won, but we do have 5 red lights as we get an awful camera angle as we wait for the drivers to rev up their engines, and they rev up now, and it is lights out and away we go. Denso gets a fairly good start, and Jensen hasn't got a good start, and Pelly is already alongside Jensen, and Macho's looking down the inside of Jensen as well, and Pelly now is up to P3. Is he going to try and go around the outside of Jensen? And Jensen gets a little bit boxed in. Mazine is in P2, and now Macho is in P5, and now Macho goes really wide, but Pelly, he's even fighting for the lead, and Pelly's down the inside of Denso. They touch, but Pelly at the moment is almost 3 wide. And Jensen somehow has taken the lead, and Pelly here is going side by side with Denso, and Pelly slots into P3, and out of all of that, Macho loses quite a few positions in P6 as he goes side by side, and he has to cut the corner quite a bit with Amanda. I think Oh, as Pelly's dropping down another position, so Pelly's starting to struggle here. After Pelly being temporarily in the lead, he's now down to P4, looking for P5 as it does seem as though Pelly, I don't know what's happened here. Hopefully he doesn't have damage. Oh, as he spun! Oh no!
Oh no, just too ambitious from Pelly. I did not need that.
And
He
Pelly's,
doesn't have any damage,
yeah.
I think, but all the way down now. He needs a safety car now.
Yeah, Pelly's old school mistakes do come back to haunt him once again, and that does seem to be his possible race win hopes, if there were any, extinguished in the space of a lap. But Jensen, we're very happy to have the lead, but in Russia, it's not always the best to be in the lead, because it is quite easy to overtake with two very large DRS zones, as Macho's got back into P4.
So by Macho battling against both McLarens right behind him. I think the guys in front of him might just pull away.
As
and
Pelly gets a
already
penalty.
gets a penalty. Whenever he has a good qualifying, things like those happen and it's just sad to see.
Yeah, shame for Pelly there, but his teammate, I'm not sure. Let's see the position gains only for the first lap, but let's see. Okay, so Macho maintained position. Messina, I guess, was one of the major winners there. Jacko as well in P8, so he's made up 5 positions, which is good for him. Zero as well in P12. I guess he's kept it patient and clean, and he's just made his way up the grid. Denzo, I guess, down into P2, but that's not the end of the world, as I said, with Russia, as Macho's getting really on the back of Messina. Messina almost looking like the F2 reserve rather than Macho.
Also, that being said, Messina does not practice a lot at all, and to still be able to fight in the top 3 despite still a lack of practice.
Yeah.
He's just showing a glimpse of his pace.
As Pelly makes a move on JB, but he does have a penalty, so Pelly's going to have to make up a lot of time as he, I think, weaves to get in a little bit of temperature into his tyres, as I don't think he has damage, as the two McLarens getting very close here. David had a really good start to go from P9, I think it was, to P6, as Jack gets a penalty very early on, as he's going for a move on Scar, as he's a bit patient, which is good to see from the Scotsman. On the back of Scar as well, who's moving well in P9. A good consistent points haul from Red Bull, very similarly to McLaren, who are consistently in the upper points finish. So Red Bull could have a good pairing here. Obviously Scar not there every week, but Jacko showing a good glimpse of pace here if he can not get any penalties as well, which is obviously very easy to do around Russia.
Let's see, the top 5 though are in the train. David just dropping away a bit from his teammate, so he's seemingly slugging on those softs. Don't think he has any damage. And up right behind him, putting pressure on him. Pelly trying to overtake Ballboy, trying to regather some positions to at least get into the points. Isaac's looking good in P11, sticking close to the Jack, so right now we just have a bit of a DRS time going on.
Yeah, at the moment it does seem to be a little bit boring, but Amanda out of all people sets fastest lap, so good glimpse of pace from the McLaren driver. As Macho's getting really close to Messina. Macho's almost been pushing Messina the last 3 or 4 laps. As we move on to the 4th lap, as Pelly makes a move on Bullboy, which I think is what you'd expect given not only tyre difference but pace difference in quali. But Bullboy moving well on the mediums as well, it has to be said, so if we could stick with Pelly and get brought along to the soft runners, he might have a good showing here, as Jack once again gets very close to Scar, as Hennep as well. Hennep, I think, is, as I just say, that nearly bottles it into the wall, is doing really well in P7 here. He's looks like he's cutting the corners quite a lot, but obviously in Russia that's something you have to do. So fingers crossed he doesn't get a penalty, as that can harm your race quite a bit if you do get a late safety car like we did see in F2, which is all important with penalties and drivers moving around. As Macho has a very fast set up, I think, in a straight line, because he's got the same ERS as Mazzina. I don't think he was using overtake, but he was right onto the back of the Mercedes driver.
Yeah. We already discovered that yesterday, even in the red lap, Macho does seem to prefer stiff, fast setups, so of course those long DRS straights suit him for that, but...
Ooh, JB. As I just realised, Robin Gravers has made a very early pit stop.
Yeah, he put it on lap 1 for damage, I believe, and we have a VSC.
And Robin Gravers, I can tell you that for a fact, he is going to make it to the end on the hards.
Yeah.
As we will see from Robin Gravers' perspective where JB is, I think it's already... Oh no, it's still on the mini-map. It's just going to be round this corner here, so... See if we get a spot of where JB smashed, and it's the Vettel position. I don't know how he's done that. I think maybe he got...
right rear missing, so he probably went onto the curb and lost it perhaps.
Ooh, Petty Pits. Now that could be very, very clever from Pelly, and for a man, I wouldn't call him a tactical genius. I think Pelly's made a very, very astute call there, because he's got free air, he is faster than the rest. If he can't pick any penalties once the other guys, the soft runners, pit, so he's got about an 8 lap undercut over them. So if he can keep it away from the white, keep it in the white line to not get a penalty here, you could get a very nice undercut to put him around the McLarens even, if he can really put on the burners here. So keep an eye out for Pelly. I think the gap to Bullboy will come down, as it's starting to come down already. Bullboy in unlucky P13, hopefully he doesn't spin there. As we see, I think all the top 5 having a fairly decent restart. Can't tell if David has got damage on. I think his tyres are very cold. Nah, he doesn't have damage on.
Plugging those tyres for some reason. Don't know how many laps he did in qualifying, but yeah, he does seem to struggle quite a bit, possibly overheating the left front.
Jacko and Hennep using overtake here, so we could get a little fight here down into turn 1. Jacko weaving left and right, trying to throw off them as Anisek Scar is under pressure from Jack, and Jack's got a brilliant exit, and Jack is going to go down the inside in turn 13, and Scar gives him enough space, and is he going to keep it round? Hopefully it's not tears, and it's brilliant racing from the two Brits, and Jacko once again, he's going for the attack here, and he backs off as Jacko and Hennep, they're side by side as well, so the Red Bulls are absolutely coming under threat here. Hennep looks like he's going to lose P7, and he does. But brilliant battling in the midfield, which we've seen multiple times through F1. If anything, the battles in the midfield have been better than the battles at the front.
Yeah, it's just like real life, isn't it?
Yes, to be fair. Yeah, F1 in midfield has been very close, like the likes of Amendo, who's really outperforming himself there. I wouldn't call him a top 5 driver, no disrespect to him, but he's really outperforming himself there, as he just loses DRS, as I say. But we've seen him doing it in Britain, where he did get a 3rd place, where he's just able to just about hang in DRS, as you can see there. The DRS detection point on the exit of turn 1, so he does have a couple of corners to just stay near DRS, as Jack Stegel really on the back of I guess the head team Red Bull, as the sister team AlphaTauri. Only one driver, being Jack, but he's put up the overtake and he saved a lot of ERS here. So if he didn't have the penalty, Jack, I think it would be looking good, but he won't be caring about that, as Scar is derating. Jackie's going to wait once again and get a better exit for turn 3. He's not using any ERS here, so I think he's just going to be waiting patiently.
Scar catching up to Hennep now. I think Hennep had a difficult turns 2 and 3.
Hennep starting to struggle. We've seen that when the tyres go off, he does start to slightly struggle more than others, but he's keeping within the DRS of Jacko, which is really good for his races. Jack has just been pushing along the 2 ahead. As I've realised, Zero is also on the back of this train, so we have a train all the way from David in P6 down to Zero in P12, so it's quite the lengthy train. I'm not sure whether there's ever been a thing called the David train, but it might be the Jacko train soon, as Jacko's very close to losing DRS on David. As it's starting to kick off, Jack is going side by side, trying to go down the inside of the second DRS zone, and Scar really cuts him off there. I guess that would be called good defensive driving for the Red Bull man as he gets a massive tank slapper. Jack is going to try going around the outside of turn 15. He's going to try and get once again the switchback, the double switchback. Oh, and he's pushing him, and he doesn't get damage. But Macho has got 5 seconds for speeding in the pits, and Macho is pitted as well. So that's Mazzina is going to be a real dent in his fight for the lead. And Macho with the undercut, he might get a much better undercut. As Mazzina, even though he's got a penalty, I think Macho is looking better.
And upon Jacko now, a lot of straight line speed.
And Hennep makes a really good move, but oh, he's run wide. Oh no, when he spun! How was he?
Out of the wall.
Did he not get damage? That is incredible.
Not get any damage. Just put on the brakes and wait for his life.
That is absolutely magnificent from Hennep. Fair play to that Hennep. In his second race, I think the first race was a little bit messy as Jacko picks up a penalty. But Hennep there, keeping in contention. If he can just stick with this pack and not get any penalties, he is going to be like a version 2 of Bullboy. So, and we all know Bullboy does get good points hauls. So if you can just keep it up here, especially if he's listening. He's doing quite well at the moment, especially being on the back of Zero, who's no slouch. As I just seen Scar.
To Jacko, also very low on ERS. See, any team orders doesn't look like it.
Oh, Jacko's run quite deep here. Oh, and now Jack's second. He's going to try and go for a move on Scar. And now they're going to go side by side. Oh, Jack going to go once again for the switchback. Can he make it work this time? Jack going for the switchback. Surely not.
He's pushing. Nah, not quite.
Into turn 17, Jack thinks better of it, but he does seem to have the pace advantage over Scar. But it's a good battle, and this is going to turn into the battle for P4 as all the pit stops file out. It's a Red Bull 3-4 here, so a safety car could be really good now.
There goes.
But Jack finally gets past Scar as there's a lot of...
Oh,
and Scar goes for a late move just to throw off Jack.
I think he wasn't even trying to go for that one.
Oh, it's kicking off now. Edzak is trying to go around the outside of Scar, but now Zero is trying to maybe pinch the inside, and now Edzak slots down into single file. But it's all of a sudden it started to really heat up just before the pit stops. I think all of them. I wanted to get a move on, and Zero. Oh no, Zero picks up damage. Not sure what happened there. He might have, the car ahead broke a little bit too early, or Zero might have broken too late there. Zero is going to have to box, but it's not the end of the world if he can. Ooh, I'm not sure whether mediums. Do you think T-Hawk Soft can make 18 laps?
I don't think so. I think they can maybe do about 14, 15, but 18 would be too much to ask.
Ooh, as Jack is going to go for a move on Jacko, and he's pulled it off. Fair play to Jack. Jack's starting to move his way up the grid quite nicely. The Scotsman having a good time in P3. I tell you what he could do with is a safety car. So he'll be urging a safety car on as... Oh wow, just all the guys behind. Oh no, Scar's gone wide. How's that happened? Oh no, what? I'm very confused here. I thought Zero would be pitting with damage, but I don't think he has significant damage.
It feels like he can carry on. He will probably do exactly that. As Denzo is coming out of the pits now. Let's see where Shanksy in relation to him. He's passed, and Martina is also passed Denzo.
So the undercut has worked.
Yeah. Actually just behind Denzo now. Yeah, the undercut has worked quite a bit.
Ooh, a lot of penalties are starting to fly in as just trying to get an understanding of this. Jack is leading without a pit stop, but he is leading from Scar, who is from Zero, and Zero has got damage. So I don't think Zero's your best bet as Jack gets another penalty, which isn't going to do his race the best. Hopefully he doesn't get another one.
The left-hand corners.
As Bullboy is running nicely in P4 with no penalties to his name. So if Bullboy is listening, maybe turn up the wick up a little bit and put the hammer down, and then maybe hopefully he can close up on Scar and Jack enough to be in their penalty window. As Bullboy, only a 10th off his PB, so maybe Bullboy's tyres aren't going off too bad. As Jensen and Mazzina, they're battling hard. Almost side by side through the second DRS zone. As Mazzina does have a 5-second penalty, so I think Mazzina wants to get past Jensen, so once they reach his teammate of Bullboy, there can be some team orders as Zero will take second place. Asgar has pitted. After the first time I think he tried to pit, he did hit the bollard, unless that was turn 17, which I'm not sure about. As starting to file out with a pit stop of Scar, I think Pelly's going to get past, so Pelly's done a nice undercut as well on these guys. And all of a sudden, Pelly, even though he's got a penalty, he's up to P9 here, which would be his joint best points finish. As David is going to go for a move, and he now takes P9, so it's P8 and 9 for the McLarens. But the top three have not pitted. As Jensen is on the back of Bullboy. Not sure whether there'll be any Mercedes team orders here, but Jensen always pushing Bullboy.
A bit more
match for a penalty.
I see this, yeah, as much to get a penalty. It's gonna hurt him, but Bullboy has been getting his elbows out lately this year, so I don't think he's gonna let Jensen by.
He's using overtake. He's using overtake and he's turned it off. I think he's realised the fight is not worth it. But is he gonna let Messina by? I would let him by as soon as possible. Yeah. But then again, I don't
do it now.
Oh no!
No, he isn't. He's saying you barely turn up, Messina, so I'm not just gonna let you by.
I guess Bullboy's preoccupying his own race, which is obviously he has every right to do. As Bullboy, I think, might be in a DRS of Jensen, and he is. So Mazzina here, he's going to go, I think, let him by, but Bullboy's got a nice helping of DRS, so this is just improving his overall race time. As Denzo's also got past, and is Denzo going to go down the inside of turn 1? Right. No, he isn't. Mazzina runs wide, and now into turn 3. No, Denzo thinks better of it. I don't think he's going to be taking any major risks like that, the Chilean driver.
That dropped off quite a bit.
With a penalty as well, I think. That is not helping to his cause. As
we're struggling with his tyres as well, so Macho is probably out of the picture for now.
As here are the pit stops at the moment. You can see the likes of Bullboy and Jack have not made a pit stop, so that would mean I think they'd be dropping round the likes of Jacko and Edzak. As
they were trying to go along on the softs now, he just pitted. Jack Stagger is still out on the softs, still leading by 3.7 seconds.
I think Zero will need a couple of VSCs or safety cars to really shake things up to give him any chance of a podium here. From Gravers gets another penalty.
Oh, Denzo almost outbroke himself into the back of Messina.
Yeah, Messina pushing now. I was just looking, having an eye on the Hennep's battle. Hennep has not got a penalty yet, and Hennep's going to try and go for a move with overtake round the outside of Edzak into turn 12. Great move from Hennep. He's got the overtake on. I think he might want to turn it off because he's going to get a hell of a lot of wheel spin, and Edzak is going to say, "You've got me down into the braking zone, but I'll get you back." And Edzak sails by in a Williams. So this might be a good point haul for Williams if Edzak can make a slight charge with no penalties as well, up to maybe P9.
Driving by the man that's sitting third in F2 in the championship.
And got third in Russia as well.
Yeah, too.
But I think he's going to be under attack from Hennep again. As Mazin is getting very close, but Hennep is going to try and go around the outside of turn 1. Oh no!
Oh, it's spun him.
Oh,
I don't know if
Edzak's
understeered into him or if he had...
Oh, I missed that. Accidentally went to Jacko, but hopefully Hennep's recording his race, and Edzak's as well. Well, unless they don't want to report each other, but luckily for Hennep, he's just going to have to shrug it off. He's got a good race here, if he can keep it up here. The others around him do have penalties, so Hennep's just going to have to ignore that. If Edzak doesn't have damage, that would help, I guess, with the steward's investigation, and he doesn't have damage. But looking at how much time he's lost around 10 seconds, so that's not ideal. But with a safety car, it's not the end of the world. So,
yeah.
and as I see that,
still struggling on those mediums.
Jack pits. I think this is the optimum time to pit. So Jack has stuck to Jeff's words, and Jeff, hopefully for his sake, will serve him well. As Mazina's getting close to Jensen, both low on ERS. Mazina lower on ERS, and Jensen goes defensive and loses a position to the Finnish driver.
Now, although we can set his ERS staying the slipstream of Mazina, the same thing to him, but Lenzo behind those two.
Azero, fastest lap.
They were the only guy on the softs right now in the field, so he should be able to make up some.
He's going to have to conserve those tyres an almighty amount, as Amenda does get a penalty, and I think that's his first of the race, which, I mean, with pit stops, I think it's now only Bullboy who's left to pit, who I think will be waiting for a safety car. As it is Bullboy. So, Mazina, the race leader, runs very wide there. As looking at the position changes and ignoring Bullboy, who hasn't pitted, I think it'd be Jacko, who's going to be moving up to P8. And Mazina, who, if you ignore the 5-second penalty, he would have had a really good race, but it hasn't been the case, sadly. That's a nice ride. As you can see,
they're still putting on a good show. Macho is not able to catch up to them right that much.
Hennep's having a brilliant race at the moment. On the mediums, he's showing really strong pace here. Hennep, P9. If he gets a little 3 more seconds, gains 3 seconds in 12 laps, I think that's 0.4 seconds per lap, unless I'm mistaken. That would be 1 second in 4 laps. 0.25 actually it would be, sorry.
Yeah,
so if he can gain 0.25 on Pelly per lap, he'd be inside his 3-second window, and then maybe even be able to attack David if he doesn't have a penalty. Astegel gets past Scar. As what's happened there? As Jack's let Scar back past as he gets a massive tank slapper, and Zero's going to have some of that. But is Jack going to let him pass his old rival? There's a safety car, Pelly. I thought, and he's done it's a Stroll, I think, incident where he's just been punted in the wall. You can see that. I'll give you many views, and I'll tell you who's going to be celebrating this inside the cockpit. It is Mr. Bullboy, as Scott gets a drive-through.
He's loving it. Messina might also take the chance to maybe get some softs, get rid of his 5-second penalty, and just charge through the field. It will be interesting to see if anybody from the top 4 from the side to pit, because they do have a bit of a gap to the cars behind.
I think Mazina would want to, because he'd get that 5-second penalty removed. So I think we will be seeing Mazina pit. And what's happening with Jensen? Jensen is following him in, and Denzo is as well. Denzo is following him in.
Line there, he can be reported for that.
Oh, it must have been really marginal. Wait, how has Macho done that? That is so slow, and I've just realised Bullboy's also gone very slow into the pits there, which is fine. I think he's going to try and leave a gap
to
not get held.
Exactly.
Oh, his pick through are going to be slow. He might get held by the McLaren as it's all kicking off with penalties. I don't know how there's so many penalties and a safe car. A Bullboy, I think he gets dead. So as things stand, it is Jensen in the race lead. So it is your championship leader in the lead on the softs from Denso. Hennep is in P3 without a penalty on the pair of mediums. He might be slipping down the field with the rest on pair of softs, but not having a penalty is really going to help him here, Hennep. And with Macho, who has some, I think he jumped Mazina, but he does, how many penalties does Macho have? He has 8 seconds, so that's not going to do his race the best. Jacko in P5, but he hasn't pitted. So I think Bullboy in P8 with no penalties, this is really going to play into his hands. He's going to have a nice chunk of points here. I think another one to look out for, he's going to be gaining, I'd imagine, a lot of positions here. David may not think it, but I do think he, with no penalty as well, could be climbing up into even the top 5 above his teammate who
Xavier
also
could
has a
use a
penalty.
chance to get maybe in the top 8 potentially. Now that he's close up to the leaders again.
He's definitely got a chance of points now, but he does have a penalty. I think if without the penalty, Zero would have definitely been celebrating. Although the finish aren't known for that quite particularly. But Robin Grevers, I think this saves his race. How many penalties does he have? He has 6 seconds, which isn't ideal. As I just realised Scar's retired as well. I think he got a drive-through under safety car and a penalty, so yeah, as he leaves the session there, just as I say. But we do have...
see, whilst we're waiting for the grid to form up behind the safety car,
I think we had...
I am just gonna enjoy some more programs.
As I think we had 10 finishers in Singapore, as whoever scored points did in the end get points if you finish the race. So hopefully, I'll say to all the drivers, please do not crash or rage quit or retire in the pits if you get damage, because there is a small chance, a very small chance, obviously in a top 10 in FRL you do get points. They might get points somehow. So fingers crossed they don't retire and we do have as many drivers out on track. I think I'll ask you, T-Hawk, hopefully you're able to answer. Who's impressed you the most this race so far, up to this point?
Let's see, Jacko has been looking very strong. Hannah is in a great position right now. Macho, I'd say he's pretty much where I expected him. Just somehow sticking in the top 3, but not really being able to outpace him. I think Amanda still has a bit more to show though in the last couple of stages. Isaac's also good.
Oh, Edzak and P9, I've just realised that with no penalty as well. Edzak, I think as long as he gets a good restart on Bullboy and gets ahead of him very early on, I think he could be looking maybe at P7 with a penalty to Amanda, and if the likes of Hennep and Jacko fall back with their tyres, as I will switch to the tyre screen, I think there's a possibility he won't only get P7, maybe even P5, because a lot of drivers have penalties as well, so Macho it as well. Honestly, if this safety car was slightly later, I think not only Hennep would have a good chance of a maybe top 5 finish, but I definitely think Bullboy, all the likes of Messina as well, he's someone to look out for, because he's going to be charging past the likes of Hennep and Jacko. So
hopefully
there's going to be a lot of stories here. Jack, if I have a look here, I'm not sure whether he scored a point in F1. I don't think he has, which has been disappointing for him as I'm looking, and I don't think I can find him. So Jack has not scored a point in F1, so that's another driver to look out for. As we have a good 18 viewers, which is good to see. As Hennep somehow posted in a YouTube comments despite racing, so in P3 in a podium spot as well. I don't know why he has overtake on, if I'm being honest.
Just trying to get a good launch out of the final corner. Jensen,
as a safety car is in this lap. Jensen, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone
Jensen,
early.
He's gone earlier than the likes of Macho in the wet yesterday. Denzo has caught Hennep lacking, and Macho at the moment is going to go through turn 1. See what he can do on the Racing Point drive. He's going to have to make swift work of him. Hennep moving, weaving around a little bit. Sticks his nose in. Hennep runs a bit wide. Macho's going to try and go round the outside. Jacko now. Jacko's having some of this. Robin Graves gets a penalty. Surely not. And now it's inside for Macho. Hennep gets pushed wide, but now Jacko might even have a sniff of P4. Hennep, hopefully he's a little bit humble with this. Takes pain. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty. He's getting swarmed here. Like Mazzina, he's now ahead. Hennep just needs to keep his position out as he goes wide again. Oh, and now he's down into P7, but now he's got a chance because he's got Bullboy behind him as he saves it again. Oh, Hennep, it's not been a good lap on a restart. He's just about in the points here. And if you look at Jacko, he's maintained his position. So I think it could have been a lot better for Hennep. And now he's being put under pressure by Jack, who's conserving his DRS nicely. And it's starting to kick off here. Jacko as well, he's pushing to overtake Macho. David is overtaking Edzak. And oh my goodness me, it's kicking off. Edzak as well. I cannot see what's happening here. I think Jack is trying to go for a move on Hennep, and Zero is in here as well. And there's Robin Gravis who's rocking up. Zero down the inside of Jack Stegel. These two F2 rivals, even F3 rivals, they go back a long way. Jack does get a better exit, and Jack is not having this from the finished driver. These two, although they're mates, they do not want to be battling too hard and ruining each other's races. As Denzo gets a penalty. Amanda making a move. Surely not. And the two racing points as well, they're having a little battle as well. So it's absolute... a lot of action, to put it very simply, at the moment. As Jack once again getting very close to Zero, but just not close enough to make an overtake. But Hennep down in P12. He does not have a penalty though. So if he can stick with Zero, he does have a chance of just a singular point. But it's one more point than nothing. So that's something to think out for. As Macho, I just realised, is being absolutely gapped by Denzo.
Yeah, he's dropping a lot of time to those two, trying to defend from Messina. He's surely gonna get past him.
I think I know why. I think that might have been because of the restart, because he was in P4 behind Hennep. So I think he's lost around 2 seconds behind Hennep, probably. As you can see, the gap is growing constantly.
A lot of time. Those front two just pushing like hell now, especially Denzel trying to overtake Jensen and pull out those 3 seconds.
Oh, as Edzak there once again. Edzak has always been a man for a battle, despite being in there 2 reserve. And what's happened there?
Oh no! Did he drop it out of the final corner? He must have.
Virtual safety car. And Bullboy. Bullboy's in heaven here. Bullboy's in absolute heaven with a pit stop. Bullboy's in P6. Denso, absolute commiserations to him. I think he just got too trigger happy on the throttle of the last corner, and he absolutely binned it into the wall. And now Jensen, I mean, it's going to be a Tuesday drive for him. Tuesday evening drive, very calm. As Mazzina's now looking at a podium. And maybe even Bullboy might get P4 here, if he can just keep up a good pace. So at the moment, it is all to play for many of them. Hennep as well, he's on the verge of P9 now with the,
might even get
penalty.
P3, yeah?
I just jinxed it. Yeah. As David's on the back of Bullboy, I think that surely is going to be an overtake. But Bullboy running really well. I think his best ever finish of the season was, if I have a look through the archives, it was P6.
Messina getting P6 and Messina getting past Macho now.
As David gets past Bullboy here. Oh, it's God, Bullboy's really fighting this hard.
Bullboy has damage with it.
Oh no. Bullboy already having a pace deficit over the rest is going to be swallowed up here. And now all of a sudden Edzak once again fighting with Jack Stegel. He's been in amongst the wars here, Jack. As Hennep gets closes really right up to him into turn 17. And now Hennep's under pressure from Robin Gravis for the wooden spoon. Robin Gravis showing a bit of pace here. And the two, I think, mates who have both joined FRL recently, they're going side by side. And now Robin Gravis, for the first time, I think, since lap 1, has not got the wooden spoon. But Hennep, he's going to do the switch back, and no, he thinks better of it. But it's kicking off here. David, he's going to go for a move round the outside of turn 3 on Jacko. What a move! What a move from the Spaniard. That might be one of the moves of the season. Jacko, though, he's not going to have this. He's going to try and fight it round the outside of turn 5, I think this is. Brilliant move. Turn... no, turn 5. I think it's 2.
I'm pretty sure it's turn 6.
No. My trap map says... But we will agree to disagree. Unless you do count turn 1 as the right-hander. As Bullboy somehow just Okay, we've clearly had a disagreement here. As Bullboy, oh, he's right under pressure here. Bullboy is going to get outbroken by Zero, and Bullboy, after looking like having a really good race, is starting to unravel for him, especially with the penalties up ahead. He's going to have to... Oh, I can imagine Bullboy's definitely going to have to work really hard for this one. He always does, I'm sure, but especially with the damage, which Bullboy doesn't usually get, especially with colliding once again with David, 2 races in a row. Obviously he didn't DNF this time, which is really helpful to his races. Zero's looking for a move on Jacko, once again in midfield, providing tons of action. Zero really on a charge here. Zero, he does seem to be one of the quickest men on the field here, if he didn't have the ERS issue, but Jacko, he's doing really well if he didn't have that penalty.
On the inside. Oh, not quite.
Very clever from Jacko there, just to sit back and relax, and I guess enjoy P7 for the time being. I don't think Bullboy is going to cause him any difficulties with the damage, and Edzak doesn't really seem to be putting Bullboy under tons of pressure. But as I say that, he is actually on the mediums, so Jack Stegel, I think, he's going to want to get a move on, as well as he's, I think, made a mistake, and Hennep's now right on the back of him. So the racing point, guys, and now what's happened there? Jack's outbroken himself, and I'm not sure what's happened to Jack. Has he got a...
Just lifted off. Ah, he left. Disconnected. He did say yesterday that he would have some issues with his Wi-Fi. Seems like they continue today.
Yeah, big shame for Jack. I think he was somewhat on the hunt for points, but I think Hennep will be celebrating inside his cockpit for one, as he does have a really good chance here of scoring his first points of FRL, as if we look at the penalty situations, which I think is more apparent than the actual tyre difference at this point. Hennep's got 3 seconds, so I don't think he'll be gaining anything. A gainer will be Amenda, who actually at this moment in time might get a podium if he can stay within 5 seconds of Macho. As Bullboy and Edzak, Bullboy's really... Oh, Bullboy's really getting in amongst the battle. He's going to try and go around the outside. Wait, Edzak lets him through. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he got a warning from the game to let him back through because he was off track.
Yeah.
Iffy from Volvo to force him off, but then again, turn 2 does not give you a lot of room to begin with.
I'm really not sure how this race is going to end up in terms of race positions, but it could have a massive shuffle up if we do get 1 or 2 more penalties. I think Zero definitely should be in that top 3 looking for that podium spot. He needs to push as hard as he can here, because if he can get past David, get within 8 seconds of Macho, have a bit of luck maybe of a retirement in the top 2, he might be looking at a podium, which sounds stupid, but you never know in FRL.
Who knows? Let me check. He's on the same penalty situation as Amanda.
As Jack says, his internet, which is, yeah, what has obviously caused a disconnect. Shame for him. Still a chance for points if there's 1 or 2 more retirements, so I guess it's not all doom and gloom.
Is gaining on Jensen by a few tenths a lap, but
yeah.
I think he won't be able to catch up in time.
I don't usually go to race director, but oh wow, Jensen only 1 warning. Messina only 1 warning now on a last lap, so I think Jensen is, I think he's just managing the gap, a very Hamilton-like championship winning way to do it, and just a professional way managing the gap, but Zero is really pushing hard, completely the opposite to Jensen. He does have, I believe, 1 penalty as Edsax is another one to accumulate a penalty. Yeah, Zero has only 1, but... So this is a full position here, especially with Jacko with a penalty. Zero, if he can get past David here, that would be P5. And in his last race, Zero, he did get P5, so I think he'd take another P5. But he's going to have to really use overtake, which he is at the moment. He's gaining on David. I don't think he's gaining enough though. He's braking very late.
I'm gonna win the next lap, surely.
Yeah, but
so close
will he want to? Because I think it's going to be really tough to pull out of the DRS of David. He's going to have to really get close to David, as David I think got slightly, oh no, they both got virtually no ERS, as they will be deracing even through this section here. Zero off the last corner. See what Zero can do here. This is for P5. He's going to use the overtake. So is David. Is he going to gain a lot? He's got quite a fast straight line speed. I think Zero's going to catch him here. And Zero, he takes P5. He's got the speed squeeze from David, as I pick the wrong driver there. And Jack Stegel, he's joined back, so...
He's back, but yeah, he's way off his AI pitted for some reason.
He could go for fastest lap, though. As Amenda's got a penalty! Amenda's got a penalty, so Zero, he's going to have to push like absolute crazy to get within 3 seconds of Amenda. But all of a sudden, he's going to have to gain 1 second on Macho and 3.3 on Amenda. If there were a few more laps here and Zero... Oh,
yellows.
Oh,
no.
He was on the verge of points, and now the debutant is going to get a point, I think, of Robin Gravers. I can't tell if it's a safety car. I don't think it is, but can't really see what happened. It's a big shame, but he's done a lot of laps, done some really good battles, and I think he's definitely learned a lot from this race, so it's a good race from Hennep. As Bullboy, he's stuck with Jacko somewhat, so Bullboy might be looking at a P7, which would be a really good result as well for him. I was just looking at Amenda. How far is he off Macho? He's 4 seconds off now, so I think he needs to be within, let me see the panel.
3 seconds, okay.
Oh no, it has to be within 2 seconds because he has 2 penalties, so it's looking unlikely. As for Zero is going to have to be within... He's 10 seconds off him, and Zero's derating, and David is right on the back of him. David's going to go for the better exit, and David's got the switch back through turn 3. It's another brilliant move through turn 3, and it's by David. So another great move through the beautiful long left-hander, and fair play to David. Brilliant move, was clever there, got the switch back, and pulls Zero's pants down, to put it quite simply.
Messina is still gaining on Jensen, but I think he would need another 1 or 2 laps to actually be able to challenge him.
Ooh, as Ezek gets another penalty, which actually means this is for position now with Robin Grevers. And Bullboy is, I think he's looking at P7 at the moment. So Bullboy, well, his supporters can get a little bit off their seat. I know they'll be biting their nails and worrying about their man in the Mercedes number 57. He's starting to lose time here, but... strong performance from the Mercedes man, the number 1 driver at Mercedes, proving once again that the consistency is key. Oh, that's not Bullboy. It's camera with switch, but Zero, I think he's once again going to go for a move on the exit of turn 1 as we are coming into the last lap, but that's for Jensen. So Zero still has a chance into turn 1. This is for position. So 4 P8 here. I mean P8, P5 I should say. God.
It's close enough. He's gaining.
Oh, he's lost. Oh, is he arrested? He's going to send it into turn 1. Can he get it slowed down? David's going to try and go down the inside. He's going to get given a squeeze. And it's another brilliant move from David. But Zero's not going to go down without a fight. Zero trying to go for the better exit here. Zero gets a good exit. He's got one more overtaking opportunity, Zero has, and that's on a second DRS zone. As Edzak, look at Edzak. He's getting right up close to Bullboy on his mediums, and so is Robin Grevers. So all of a sudden, it's heating up for the battle for P8. But for now, we focus on Zero. Zero coming through the left-hander of turn number 9. As Zero... now it's going to come through the second DRS straight. He's 2/10 off. David is under pressure here. He weaves once, and now he can't move again under braking. Zero, he's going to try and go down the inside into the DRS zone. And Zero, can he make it stick? David's going to fight this. Brilliant move from Zero. And that's P5 for the Finnish driver. Lovely move from Zero.
Ballboy still staying in front.
And Edzak, this is for position with Robin Grevers as well. Is Robin Grevers going to go down the inside? As I'm starting to lose my voice, God. But David is going to be P6 Zero, I think, run out of what was it, fuel on a line, which from experience is not something you do not want to do. As Bullboy, it's going to be P7 for Bullboy. Robin Grever's going to take P10. See if Jack can get the fastest lap, which rhymes nicely, but I don't think he will on mediums. But you know, P11, 1 point or 1 place off P10 as he does spin.
He won't get fast enough now.
Yeah, that's for sure, especially on mediums. I'm not sure really, but Robin Grever's 3/10 off P9 and Jacko 6/10 off 2 points finishes. I mean 2 points, but you know, have to give props to Jensen. Another very solid win, and that is, oh God, how many? His third in a row as well, since he won in Italy, Singapore, and now Russia. And Jensen is going to be celebrating, as you can see in his cockpit. As we can.
They will drive after the day.
I would probably agree with that. This was a very good race from Zero and David as well. I think the battles they were having were absolutely brilliant, as Jensen does come out on top and he celebrates very happily. I think Matcha will be very relieved to get another podium. Strong performance from him considering the amount of penalties he had. But another win from Jensen, and that just consolidates his championship, and I don't know, another step closer maybe to a record he's looking for.
Let's see. So that's our finishing order then. Jensen out of Messina, both of them not getting a penalty. Macho, despite getting 8 seconds worth of penalties, still in P3. Out of Amanda, Zavo, David and Ballboy with no penalty. Jacko P8, Edsax P9, Robin in P10, picking up a point on his debut. Jack Staggle P11 after disconnecting, and the non-finishers are Enep, Denzo, Scar, Kelly and JB.
Yeah, God, I forgot about Pelly and JB. Another race for Pelly to be quite disappointed about. Anyone there probably who DNF'd would be disappointed, because they had, maybe apart from Denzo, who always scores big points, but there was a good chance there for a nice little points finish from the likes of JB. Jamie retired, but I think I will see you, Teok, unless you won't be joining me, I guess in the virtual pen for the driver interviews.
No, I'm afraid I will have to leave the stream for now.
It's been great to commentate with you once again, and
it's been great to commentate with you as well.
And
thank you all for watching.
Yes, and we're not going just yet, so anyway, I'll join the party. Going. And we are here. We're here in person, in the driver's pen, waiting for the drivers to join into the party, as the drivers just finishing their races, as they're all filing through, every single driver. As I think I saw a Mr. Jensen pop up.
Yeah.
As we have Jensen. So, another win, Jensen, third in a row. Was it as easy as it looked?
No. I mean, I think it's just about saving energy, really. I think just in the first stint when Pelly, of course, jumped us, me and Denzo coming in 4, and I just went through the gap, and luckily enough my car was just enough ahead to pick the racing line, so I pretty much managed to take control from there on, and then just using as little as possible, trying to get good exits, keep Denzo behind, and it was pretty much the same for the second stint as well with Messina, but Messina got through in the end. as I was just absolute like power sliding through the final sector at one point and just lost so much time. But yeah, he come the safety car, final safety car though, it was a bit unfortunate for him because he would have won the race without that pit penalty, because he was catching me by like half a second a lap come the end of the race. So I mean, a bit lucky again, but I'll take the race win. Anyway.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, you just missed out in qualifying when Denzo. Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't say pipped. He did storm to pole right at the death, or is he like you putting on a Parasos? Were you slightly worried about Denzo throughout the whole of the weekend, from qualifying to the race, that he would pose quite a big threat with his very good pace?
Oh yeah, it was of course through most of the race, but then I just, on the second lap after the safety car, I just got the hammer down, posted fastest lap, and I looked behind me and I saw he just lost it at the final corner and crashed. So that was pretty much it from then on. And yeah, it wasn't really fully pushing. I think I was one more lap I fully pushed to try and improve the fastest lap, but I couldn't, so I just carried on as I was until the end, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and that is another race win to your tally, and obviously it's another record step, I guess, closer to a record if you're chasing any. And we do move on to Japan next race, and in previous seasons gone by, I think in the last full F1 race you did win it in the McLaren, if I'm not mistaken.
I did win it my first season, yeah, from the back of the grids, and then second season didn't go to plan at all, finished outside the points, but I picked up a fastest lap. And of course, pre-season for this season was at Japan, and yeah, to be honest, I feel confident into that race, so yeah, bring it on as always.
Obviously Japan can be quite difficult to overtake. Do you have any tactical plans in terms of setup which maybe might help you there, with maybe more straight line speed setup to help with overtaking, which can be quite difficult around Japan, or do you want to keep it
I just go
quiet?
straight off a TT setup, mate. Essentially,
Okay.
That's it. I never really adjust it unless, I mean, I need to, but yeah, other than that, whenever it's just a dry race, that's how I go.
Yeah. Well, once again, another win to boot, and just one last question. Do you think you'll be doing any last to first challenges towards the end of the season, or have you excluded that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
I definitely consider tracks. I mean, Japan will be a difficult one to do a last to first, really, because you literally it's nearly impossible to overtake unless you get a good run. If you're starting on an alternate strategy, you're not going to get there. So I think USA and Mexico, maybe Brazil even as well, some of those tracks, I'll have a go at it, you know. And yeah, pretty sure we got the constructors anyway secure, so
yeah. Well, once again, a very solid win and a very well done and a good professional performance throughout the whole of the weekend, and best of luck if you need any for Japan to keep the win streak going.
yeah, thank you.
As we move on to, I think Mazina's probably not here in the party, so is Macho here in the party?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Well, Macho, it was I think your quality pace in terms of qualifying, you really flexed the muscles with setting provisional pole at one stage with a 29.7, I believe, and you must have thought at one stage you might have even been on the first row of the grid to really put up a strong fight, but obviously the likes of Denzo and Jensen and even Mazina towards the end upped the antics and managed to pull out the bag. But in terms of qualifying, you were weaving and drifting around quite a bit. Did you feel you maybe pushed the limits too much, or did you think you just maybe, I don't know, you extracted the maximum out of your car?
Well, I don't think I have extracted the maximum out of my car, because in 29.2 was possible, but I knew Denso and Jensen were really fast. Messina was really fast as well, but he invalidated. And then I was pretty happy with my lap, and then Pelly suddenly came onto the 3rd place, so I lost 1 place to him, but that didn't care at all, because he didn't have the best race. But yeah, I was very happy with 4th in qualifying.
And in terms of the race, there were obviously a couple of mistakes, just scattered throughout the race, but you generally seem to, in the early stages, stick with the pack, the top 3 quite well, up to the stage, I think it was around, where was it, the pit stop phase, where I think you sped into the pits. Were there any other standout, maybe, I guess, mistakes, which probably could have promoted you to maybe 2nd, or even, well, I think 1st would have been ambitious, but any mistakes probably which you could have corrected and helped your race time generally, and just clean a race?
Well, I was in the DRS train at the first laps, so I was just keeping it in there, saving my ERS. And then at lap 9 I went to the mediums with Messina, but I just had no pace compared to the first 3 on the mediums. So I was very happy that the safety car came out, so I could just switch to the softs. I think I had better pace on the softs, but still Jensen and Messina were way too quick. So the only way I could have won was by them to crash. And yeah, the penalties were a bit weird, because I went into the pit lane, I switched on the pit limiter, I was underneath 60, and I just pushed the throttle and it went over 60 again, so I got a penalty for like nothing. So I could have get it removed, but still I don't win any places if I will get it removed. Yeah, the corner cuttings was just stupid. I was just losing concentration because I was just driving on my own. I was on 2 warnings, so 1 more and I would have got a 2nd penalty, but still 3rd, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, like you said, another podium in F1, like in Belgium, and you're showing really good pace in F1, and you're looking very competitive, possibly towards next season. But obviously, 1 race at a time, and into Japan. I'm not sure whether you've done it before in FRL.
Yes, I did actually, and I will be Jensen's teammate for the next race, where Alfa Romeo can win the Constructors' Championship, because Zero won't be racing, and I hope I can add something to their championship.
Well, already planning. We're well ahead. Well, that would be obviously a good aim, especially with Ferrari. I don't think they had a single, well, yeah, Pettival obviously wasn't able to race, neither was Tyne, once again. So, it's looking good obviously for Alfa Romeo with the Constructors. I think it'd be more crazy if you lost it than won it, but into Japan, obviously that's going to be a good possibility. But in terms of both F2 and F1, starting with F2, do you have any particular aims, especially that you're fighting Drivers' Championship?
Yes, to win.
Oh,
in F2.
simple as that, yeah.
And to get 2nd in F1 with Jensen in 1st and just win the Constructor Championship.
Nice. Well, aiming for the best, obviously, always going to do well. And once again, thanks for racing. And well done, another podium, 2nd podium of the season. And best of luck in both F2 and F1.
Thank you, and thanks for
Japan.
commentating.
No problems. As Amanda, if he's here, or Zero, or David. I don't think David's
I'm here.
Okay, so we'll go to Zero, who finished P5. Well, it was a very topsy-turvy race, Zero. With qualifying, I think you probably wouldn't have expected in the end to qualify last, but it wasn't your best qualifying of the season, probably your worst, but was there maybe any particular reason for that, or is it just one to forget and move on from?
Yeah, just understeered a bit too wide, got an invalid that way, and realized that I didn't have a chance to go in the pits and go back out. So that's the reason, pretty much entirely, of why I qualified last.
Yeah, and it didn't turn out to be too bad, obviously, when at one stage you were the lead medium runner, and then you did have the incident, I think, on the back of Edzak, if I'm not mistaken, or another low midfield runner, where you hit them into turn 5, I believe. And any comments on that incident? Did you feel it was them braking early, whoever it was, or do you feel you just broke too late?
I just misjudged how early he's gonna brake compared to me, and that's pretty much the only reason that did happen.
Yeah. But you did recover very well. I mean, the early pit stop on the softs. Did you think you were going to make it to the end initially? And how did you feel with the safety car? Because the safety car really did kind of save the race, I would say.
I was thinking about risking it with the softs before the safety car to try and go at the end, see what I can do, see how bad the wear is at the end of the race. But then the safety car came, and I decided to just was thinking that it's gonna be a literal savior, that this was what I needed pretty much instantaneously after my wing damage. And now that it came, I'm gonna have to push like hell and not try and get any more warnings.
And obviously you did accumulate, I think, a penalty or two, but in the end it was a very good comeback drive, especially after the safety car restart. Did you feel you were going to get P5 or that far up, or were you quite impressed by the end of the race that you did manage to get that many positions on the safety car restart and to the end of the race?
I didn't really think where I could finish. I just decided to just see where my pace takes me and hopefully overtake as many cars as possible.
And quite a few battles today, so once again it was a pretty action-packed race, and it's another P5 for your race, so once again it does somewhat wonders for the championship, as you're actually now starting to close in on the drivers up around who haven't actually raced the last couple. You're now only, if I can do the maths right, 35 away from Pettervol in second. And unless, I don't think, well, Mazzina I think will jump him, but you are among that top 5 championship fight. Do you think it'd be stupid to say you might be in the running to possibly gain a couple more positions in a championship, or do you think that's something you're just not really caring about and maybe focusing on the constructors a little bit more?
I don't really care where I finish. In the end, I've already done better than I did last season, so I'm all happy with it.
Yeah, and into Japan, obviously, I'm not sure how well you go around there, but do you feel you have good form in the past few seasons around Japan, or has it not been a good track for you?
As Macho already said, I won't be racing in Japan, so it's gonna be pretty much a mystery to all of us, even me.
Well, what about USA? I think it's USA. Do you think you go well around USA in 2 weeks?
No, I've enjoyed USA for the entirety of this game, really, for some weird reason, and should be a good one. Should have a decentish pace.
Good to hear. And obviously, best of luck in 2 weeks, and you were saying another solid 10 points to bring home for Alfa Romeo and yourself, so well done and thanks for racing.
Thanks.
As moving on to the next driver, I think it would be Ballboy. Or Amanda, if Amanda's not in a party.
Oh.
I don't think you said anything, so yeah, Ballboy. Oh, well.
Yes.
Overall, very, very solid race from you. It could have been a lot more if everything in your weekend came together. But starting with quali, it was you did qualify in the end. I think it was P14, so fairly low. But that kind of played into your hands with being on the mediums and the guys fighting ahead, which kind of meant you could be in that midfield fight, which kind of helped you in the long term to pit for softs. So, did you feel with your strategy you played it really well, going along on the mediums, which helped you with the safety car?
Yeah, I think strategy today was great. Going on the softs at the end, that really helped. But yeah, no, the first part of the race on those mediums, I mean, nothing really happened up until the top guys pitting because, I mean, the mediums, for me anyway at the time, were slower to the other guys until they ran out of tyre wear. I was catching a little bit, but then the safety car came out, so... But no, yeah, I think mediums to softs, I could have gone softs, mediums, but yeah, luckily I went medium softs because that safety car timing and it did really help me out, so yeah, that's a good call from myself, and a couple of others also went on the mediums, but most started on the softs.
Yeah, and obviously up to that point it went really well, and great call from you strategy-wise, which, to be fair, hasn't always been the case this season, but this was a really good one, which paid off with a good solid points finish. But it has to be said, you did once again come to blows with David. Luckily, you didn't crash out, but you were generally in the race fighting quite hard. You didn't move out your teammates' way in the last sector, which was interesting, but didn't affect his race too much. But in terms of David, any comments for David? Because surely now he might now, there might be a feud now going on between you two.
Well, I tried what I tried in the last race, but thankfully, he didn't crash into me this time. But it was okay because he was faster anyway. And also I think at the end of the race I had some sort of damage, but yeah, it was like yellow, so it wasn't too bad. And that was because of his I kind of didn't realize that Mendel was going to break quite early, so when I was really close to him. So, but yeah, it was okay in the end because I would have finished like 7th anyway, so I probably lost about 1 or 2 seconds in those final like 10 laps because of that. So, yeah, it makes no difference to the overall position.
Yeah, and although it was a little bit of a messy race, it was your second best result of the season, which means you do gain more points in the championship, which is you're kind of sort of moving towards Barra, who's in gonna I think now be in P11 since Amanda scored some solid points, but especially you've come along really well in the second half of the season, and it's the second point scoring in a row. Do you think into Japan you can get another point scoring, because you're starting to get some really good solid points under your belt here, so possibly the momentum might actually be with you?
Yeah, it depends if other people crash out again, I guess, because, I mean, today really was the safety car, Pelly crashing, and, other people crashing and making mistakes. That helped me out tremendously. Otherwise, you saw me at the start of the race, I was for like 13th, 14th, so I would have finished then if it weren't for others' mistakes, so... but yeah, Suzuka, I like the track. Lots of places for people to mess up and crash, so yeah, I've just got to hope on that and just be consistent, and hopefully I'll get a top 10 finish again. Hopefully
you're not hoping on any life-threatening crashes in FRL, but...
Oh no.
Oh no. Right.
No, just, a disconnection here, or, that'd be nice.
Yeah, well, once again, a very solid race from you, picking up another nice, 7th in a row now. Got one in, oh no, never mind, sorry, that's just Jensen doing the standings. Another nice 6 points to add to your tally, and bring Mercedes closer in a fight, I guess, to Ferrari, even though you're quite a way off. But once again, very good result from you, and best of luck if you need any for Japan.
Thanks, and thanks for the stream and commentary.
No problem. As do we have Jacko, Edzak, Robin Grevers, or Jack Stegel? So we have Jacko. Nice.
Yeah, Jacko.
It was a very, probably again, quite action-packed race for you. You had quite a few battles, but I think we'll start with quali. You qualified in the end, I think it was P13, which was a bit odd because usually outside the top 10 you'd go for the mediums, but you did go for the softs, so you went a little bit aggressive at the start. With the safety car late on, do you think that maybe played into your hands, or would you have gone otherwise now looking back at it?
Oh no, I'm generally like I'm very like I'm gutted. I think you might call it a stream. I made up what 5-6 positions off the start.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Went all the way up and I overtook. I forgot his name, Minep or something like that. I forgot his name.
Hip.
That's it. Up to P7, and then obviously heli crash, so P6 or something around that area. And then cruising along, the medium runners still yet to stop. And if that safety car didn't come out, as mad as it sounds, I wouldn't have been too far off a podium. I wouldn't have got a podium because I would have got overtaken in the later laps, but I would have been around P4, P5 with about 4 or 5 laps to go. Then obviously I picked up a silly penalty and conceded P7, but honestly that safety car was halted probably, would have been my best finish, I would probably say, for a very, very long time. But, you just got to look at the positives. P8, I guess, still decent points, and then on to Japan. But yeah, very good because the pace in the race was very, very good. Yeah,
and it's your third 8th place of the season, which seems to be your lucky number of the season. But it did, I guess, the race unfold. Maybe not so as much as he likes, but yeah, you were definitely up there. Showed really good race pace, good racecraft as well, having loads of battles with your teammate, I think McLaren's once or twice, and obviously the likes of Hennep. But yeah, I guess the safety car, out of all the people it did help, it probably didn't help you, but you didn't decide to pit because you did stay out. Did you think maybe you could have gone a bit differently?
I did think about it, but for some reason track position was a lot more important than I thought it was going to be this race. Yeah, a lot of people were struggling to sort of get past one another, and not many people overtook me, actually in the race, other than in the pits. So yeah, some reason track position was quite important this race. So I think it was the best decision to stay out, because then I would have had to get back through the field if I did pit. But yeah, it's mixed feelings, man, because that was probably my best performance of the season. But obviously the result doesn't really show it because of that safety car. But you've got to look at the positives, I guess. A couple more points on the board, like you said. Into double, well, that's 3 P8s. I'm into double figures now, and obviously started racing a lot more now. So yeah, I'm getting back into it, enjoying it, getting quicker. So yeah, mixed emotions really at the moment. But
there's 2 P8s at the moment.
Is it 2?
Yeah.
No,
sure?
2 of them.
No.
Yeah, because I didn't race a lot at the start because I have been obviously I've been busy with work and whatnot. But yeah, is what it is, isn't it? On to Japan.
I think generally I might say in terms of the rest of the season, as you said, you've come on quite well from a couple of races at the start where you were, I think, not really finishing very well, if at all finishing, but now you seem to be closing almost onto the McLarens. Do you think towards the end of the season you might be somewhat more competitive now, starting to fight with the McLarens, who seem to be at that kind of upper midfield area?
I would probably say my objective is hopefully by Abu Dhabi to be a lot closer to them, but I don't think this season I will maybe beat them on merit. Hopefully I can get one race, but realistically I think I'm starting to just get back into it now, getting back up to speed, and hopefully by the time I start of the next game, or maybe even the end of this one, I could be around that sort of area, which would be very, very nice to battle for like P6, P7 area, sort of every race. So yeah, that's the objective by the end of the season, and see where we get to, I guess.
Yeah, completely. And once again, well done for, I think, breaking your duck of not finishing 3 races for not starting and not finishing. So another 4 points on the board, which brings you ever closer to the likes of Hamilton and Unseen in the championship, which helps. But
yeah, not quite championship contender quality just yet, but you know,
we'll get there.
not
We'll
too
get
far.
there.
Yeah,
But,
cheers, guys.
Anyway, good race and best of luck in Japan.
Yeah, cheers for the commentary.
No problem. And do we have one more person, or is that it?
Have you got me?
Oh, Pelly. Oh, yeah, sorry. Pelly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Jack, so I'll do Jack and then Pelly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Jack, you did finish the race, which is always a good start, but probably in the worst position you could have in P11. So, overall, maybe not the best, but to say the least, you got into a lot of battles and had a lot of fun. So, starting with qualifying, I think you qualified, where was it? It was
12, yeah.
P12, which was just outside the top 10, which meant actually you could start on the sauce, which was a bit odd once again, because most people would usually go on the mediums, but you did decide to go on the sauce, which kind of worked out because you were battling the likes of Scar a lot. But would you say you would have switched up the strategy, because with all the battles with the likes of Scars and Hennep, although they were obviously very good, they probably weren't the best, and if you went on the mediums, you maybe would have saved a lot of time, especially with the safety car.
Yeah, I'm just wishing I had started on the mediums. I mean, seeing what happened towards the end, it wouldn't have mattered, because my owner was probably going to go out anyway, so I was a bit annoyed with that, but it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, a couple battles with people. They were fun. Making a couple of ambitious moves. I mean, there was clean. It was clean contact, clean battle, and stuff like that. But yeah, just on to the next one, I guess.
Yeah, turn 3 did seem to be your hotspot with Scar getting very close a couple of times, but I guess that obviously didn't matter towards the end.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Seemed pretty good in terms of the end of the race. You looked really good for points, which obviously would have been your first of the season. Only doing 4 races, so you haven't completed the most. But with 5 races left, surely you're wanting to at least get points, maybe even, I don't know, a top 7, top 5 finish to really flex the muscles and show your pace.
Yeah. I'm hoping to score points in the next 5 races, but yeah, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And into Japan, the next race, do you feel it's a good track for you in terms of your history going around there, or do you feel maybe it's a weak track and maybe you're looking forward to the likes of USA or Mexico?
I have been strong at Japan in past seasons. Just hoping to score points, maybe hop into the top 8 or something. But yeah, Japan's one of my stronger tracks, as shown in the past seasons. But yeah, USA, Mexico, I'm not looking forward to them. I'm not the best at them, them 2 tracks. But yeah, we'll just move one by one, I guess, and I'm just hoping a lot of people make mistakes so I can score points.
Yeah, and I guess moving on to the next race, hopefully you do have a better internet connection. But once again, thanks for especially finishing the race, giving us 11 finishes, and best of luck for next race, and hopefully you get some good points on the board.
Thanks, and thanks for commentating.
As we move on to Pelly, who sadly crashed out, but looked, I mean, absolutely rapid in quali. If Pelly, you're there.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I think we'll start with the positives. Qualified P3, and it looks really good, especially with your teammate behind you, looking like Haas were going to get some really good points on the board. But it did seem to, like in the past, come a little bit undone in the race. almost was, I think, up to the lead at one point, but in terms of quality, did you think you could have extracted anything more out of that lap to, I don't know, contend or get a little bit
Yes.
close to the top two?
Yes, I think I lost like 1/10 or 2/10. Would have been quicker. But yeah, it would have been enough to like pass Jensen or something. But like I would have like lost like I think 2/10 in that lap.
So was it possibly tactical, qualifying P3 so you could
Oh
get the
no,
jump?
no! I like literally I'd not really one lap done at a time, so I had to do the I just had to do a lap. Otherwise, I would have been lost.
Yeah. Well, if I'm not mistaken, which I could well be, I think it'd be your first ever time leading a race 41 seconds into the race, obviously getting past Jensen and Denzo.
Yeah.
How were you feeling at that point, especially at the start of the race, qualifying really well and taking the lead? Surely at that point you must have been on cloud 9 and just soaring away.
It was surprising, but yeah. Well, it was a shame, like because Denzo like he moved a bit, so like when I was side by side with him, he moved. So my line was so compromised that the exit was also bad, so Jensen could pass. You know, I think we touched also me and Denso at the exit of turn 4, because like I literally had no, like he really compromised my line. So it's a shame. Otherwise, if he didn't do that, I might have done like might have been longer P1, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But it is good. Good to know I was P1 once.
Yeah, obviously it's all kind of a learning curve, especially being at the front there. Sometimes I think you qualified P2 in Hungary, so it all helps in terms of to be up there fighting, even though it was about half a lap,
Yeah.
but it still does always help. And you looked quite even strong for a quite chunky undercut after I think you pitted lap 7, wasn't it? Trying to do
No,
a
lap
big
5
undercut.
under the virtual safety car. I just decided to pit because I already had damage because of I broke too late and Massina's his side fault, so I decided to pit. I thought maybe it's better because I knew like after lap 5 I can get the tires to the end, so and then it worked because I just undercut everyone like. I was just fighting with David Shinzo for P7 at the time, and then I just like he passed me, and I just want to stay behind him to catch like Amanda, who was ahead of us at the time, and like I made a mistake by downshifting too far. So I like in turn 4 I went at this 4th gear corner. I just took in 3rd gear, so and then I just lost it because of that. And yeah, I literally didn't know until I saw the replay. But yeah, it's a shame because I think in the end with Idensum crashing out, I think a P6 would have been possible then. For today. But yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is obviously another DNF, but once again, the quality pace looks good. Do you think you're gonna approach Japan any differently and maybe, I don't know, do more race pace practice over quali? Because you do seem a little, well, really, really fast in quali, but then it just seems to come undone in a race. So do you think that's anything to do with you or just the setup?
It's like I'm still getting used to the no traction, being consistent in the race. Qualifying I have not really a big problem with it, but like the race being consistent and not making mistakes, etc. Today wasn't really in case of no traction, just made a stupid mistake by downshifting too far. But I think being consistent all the time and yeah, just avoiding mistakes. I need to be consistent and yeah. But like I think the last time I raced out Japan, I did quite well. I think I did quite well. But yeah, that was a long time ago, so I don't know anymore.
Well, I think our question would be, out of the likes of Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi, which of those tracks do you think will best suit you and you have the best chance to score points and climb up the standings?
USA, for sure.
Is that anything to do with
I
you?
won I won yesterday out of USA. I have good space around there, so I'm looking forward to that race. So hopefully I can get a good race around there.
Okay, I would expect nothing more than a win then, I guess. FRL. But we'll see. Anyway, good luck around Japan. Hopefully you do get some more points on the board and increase your tally. And obviously, commiserations for DNF today, and best of luck next race.
Thank you.
And I believe, unless JB somehow has bought a mic and gets interviewed, I think that's it for the stream. So I will say bye, and it is Japan next Monday for FRL, F2, and obviously F1. This time in a week, if you want to see the action unfold around Japan, which hopefully won't be a bore fest, but we will see. Hopefully we'll get some good overtakes. So until then, goodbye.